In many ways, round 12 was one to forget for the Hawks. A first half rampage from Port Adelaide put the contest to bed early, but Hawthorn at least showed some heart and put a little respectability on the scoreboard by the final siren. We're back to recap all the action from the past weekend, so let's get down to business. My name is Nick Mason, and joining me as always, my co-host Tiz, talk about being brought back down to earth by a contender in red-hot form, eh?
Is that what you took out of it, that Port Adelaide are contenders?
Oh, they must be doing something right.
Yeah.
I mean, to put that amount of goals on the scoreboard by half-time.
Yeah, it was pretty demoralising, really.
Okay, here's the thing, because Hawthorn weren't inept. This was a combination of Hawthorn being pretty average, pretty poor, but Port Adelaide were pretty awesome.
And we didn't adjust to not having Sicily in the side. And,
No.
And there was a perceived pressure off the back line that was just incredible. Like, they didn't handle the crowd. They didn't handle anything in that first quarter, certainly.
Didn't handle the footy very much either.
No, but in the end, we had more possessions than Port Adelaide because they just stuck the cue in the rack about halfway through the third quarter.
Okay, so do you take anything from the second half?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's still a bit of will and determination about that performance in the second half, but that first half, you can't just gloss over that and go, well, look, we turned up in the second half. Everyone's entitled to a half, being down. But no, there was absolutely no ability to stop the scoring run. Findlayson was excellent. I know he's in really good form, but I honestly, I really admire that guy for what he's able to put forward this year.
Yeah.
And he was the only guy I really felt comfortable about getting goals against Hawthorn.
Yeah, okay.
And the rest of them, I was just like, well, Todd Marshall getting 5. I was like, ugh.
Did he get 5 in the end?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Anyway, we've had 2 up weeks. Now we have a couple of down weeks.
Well, I know exactly who to pin it on. We had a question from Mel. Should I have stayed in Berlin? We won 2 straight while I was there. I come back and we lose. Well, thanks very much, Mel.
Yeah, well, that ipso facto.
Yeah,
that's...
off you pop. It was pretty bad, but one of the shining lights, if you're looking for positives, look no further than Luke Bruce. Notched up, goal number 500, a gem on the run, but put through another 4 goals to cap things off. A quality day out overall for Luke Bruce when he didn't have any right to. He actually finished with 5 goals, 3, including 2 posters, so it could have been a very big day.
Oh, the posters, my goodness. I was getting excited about...
I know, yeah, I thought of you because you have been really hanging out for
butt
this.
Left the couch a couple of times, and then it just hit the post. And yeah, Bruce, what an incredible player, and the loyalty of the man, and to be captain on the day was special. Yeah,
it all kind of worked out, didn't it? Like, we didn't see it in Melbourne, but it felt like it was a special day for him.
And he enjoyed himself. He really did. But yeah, the team was non-competitive, but all hail Luke Bruce. That was that caps a wonderful career. He's still got another year to run on his contract. And
so he should.
And, he's scoring beautifully.
We had a question from Richard. Top 3 Hawthorn small forwards of all time. If Bruce is number 1, who's rounding out your top 3? We're not short of candidates here, mind you.
Well, you got Rioli. He's a shoo-in.
Yeah, well, let's just say Luke Bruce, 184 centimetres. So if we're talking small forwards, let that be the guide.
Oh, so is that just an arbitrary... So you're discounting Dermot Brereton because he's, 2 centimetres taller.
Richard has put forward the
ridiculous? Isn't that ridiculous? Dermy and the way he played.
Yeah.
Only 2 centimetres taller than Bruce.
Yeah, I know it's ridiculous. But if Luke Bruce is going to be number 1 in a list of small forwards...
Right.
What criteria are we using? I suggest use the criteria of the man that's already part of the list. 184 centimetres. Let's go.
Gotta be shorter than him.
Yeah, 184 centimetres or less.
Right.
Okay. Rioli qualifies. Buchanara.
Yeah.
Graham Arthur. Peter Crimmins. John Platten. Puopolo. Mark Williams.
Don't you remember Elbiston?
Oh, who could forget?
Out of the 40s?
Those were the days.
Got a great goal-scoring record.
There were... I looked up the possible candidates here. There were a fair few names. I'm like, that's decades before my time. I'm not sure if I've seen any vision of those guys.
Yeah. I was reading about people wondering why Moncrief isn't talked about in more illustrious terms. But it's just the crowd you're with, isn't it, I guess?
I couldn't answer that one, actually.
If you're between Hudson and Dunstall,
Well, yeah, there's a fair point. Now, we're staying with the forwards, because my boy Mitch, he had a good game. 20 touches at 75% disposal efficiency. Team high 8 marks, 13 score involvements, including 3 goals to himself and 3 goal assists. Not too bad.
Yeah, no, I've got to say that Mitch Lewis is becoming very, very reliable, and it's fantastic to see.
This is one of those games where he probably won't get his flowers from many fans, mostly due to the scoreboard and how the game actually unfolded. But statistically, that is a very, very high-quality game from Mitch. And for a guy who's essentially our full forward...
Yeah, 20 touches for a guy that's playing key forward, that's good.
That's very industrious. So hats off to Mitch Lewis. The other guy that I really liked was Jarman Impey.
Yeah, you liked his defensive qualities, did you?
Well, I could target other defenders if you prefer.
Okay, go ahead.
Jarman Impey with 33 touches, 78.8% disposal efficiency, 5 rebound 50s.
Excellent when he has the ball, I agree.
534 metres out. Come on. You've lined him up. And you always have a go at me when I line a player up. So now the tables have turned.
No, I can't.
Oh, look at you.
I can't
try and weasel
really
out of it.
I just don't think you can hail any of the defenders on the weekend. But
I don't know about that.
Certainly, he was one of the blokes pushing the Barrow back up the hill after it,
Put it this way. You can't compare Jarman Impey's game to, say, Sam Frost.
Well, no.
So don't lump them all together in the one group, okay? There were clearly shining lights in a defensive unit under siege.
To be honest, last week I called for DGB to be in this team, right?
Yep.
There was nothing I saw.
To keep him out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And if he isn't in this lineup,
yeah,
or isn't called upon this week,
yeah, what are we doing?
Not what are we doing. More, that's a real problem for him.
Mate, it's already a problem. What are we, we're heading into round 13.
Yeah.
And he can't crack a side that's either 16th or before that, bottom of the ladder. It's been a problem the whole season for DGB. He should have cracked more senior games than he has this year. That's a fact.
And if he's behind Scrimshaw...
Yeah, he's deep in the queue.
Yeah.
Because, I know they're not like for like, but think of the other players that are getting senior game time over him. We've got Seamus Mitchell, who's come from the clouds. Weddle is making a fantastic impression.
Well, Weddle is better than Scrimshaw.
Yeah.
He displayed that. Apart from early nerves, where he dropped a few sitters.
Yeah.
And he took a couple of incredible marks, much better positioning. As soon as he decided he wasn't going to defend anymore, do you know what I mean? There was a mindset about it. That he was actually going to attack the footy and...
Yeah. Well, what was happening in the first half really wasn't working.
Oh, they were on their heels. They were on their heels. Pressure.
Fumbly, outbodied. He was unlucky at times too, I thought. But in many ways, it was a nightmare first half for him. But to finish with 25 touches at 76% disposal efficiency and not one but 2 hangers, as you say, Tiz, that exemplifies a never-say-die attitude that I absolutely love of a guy who's played 6 games.
Okay, so for me, yes, there were a lot of guys that stood up, especially in the final quarter. McDonald, Moore, Weddle, Warple, Jarman Impey, even in the third quarter, these guys were starting to get their hands on the pill. But there was one bloke in that first quarter where everything was all at sea. No one was getting their touches. Mm-hmm. He looked to change the game, and that was Warple.
Yeah.
Warple with 12 touches in that first quarter. I know he runs at 80% disposal efficiency for the day, but that's very good for James. And he is definitely hitting his straps right into the bye, isn't he? This is the best we've seen him for a long time.
Well, these are the kind of stats that reflect the kind of game that I've been waiting to see from Warple for years now. It's the marriage of the accumulation and the efficiency that's just awesome. 35 touches at 80%, as you said. A team high 8 inside 50s, equal team high 23 pressure acts, 9 score involvements. If not for Bruce taking the limelight, there's a great argument to suggest that Warple was our best player.
Yeah. Did you say 6 clearances as well? Because that led the team. Only, Horn Francis had 6 clearances on the other side. And I thought Carl Amon turned up against his old side, as they always do, these old fellas.
Yeah, I found it interesting. I tweeted out that I was...
Probably could have played Wingard. Amon and Impey are 2 best.
I was surprised that Port Adelaide fans weren't booing Amon, and I put that out on Twitter, and then I had quite a few Port Adelaide fans tell me, No, I obviously wouldn't boo him. No way. And I'm like, am I just being gaslit here? Did we not spend weeks talking about booing players?
Well, perhaps having been on the receiving end with
Oh,
Jason
they've mellowed.
Hall-Francis.
Yeah, they've calmed down a bit.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
That's not going to last.
Of course it isn't. Oh, I thought it was mighty decent that they didn't boo him, but let's not act like it doesn't happen.
So there were points of light in what was, what's the word?
Crap.
We've got a bit No, I mean if you weren't really looking, you would have looked at Hawthorn and gone, my goodness, this is a real problem. No James Sicily, no defence.
Yeah. Well, it underscores his credentials as a leader. Remember how we had people questioning that back at the start of the year?
I don't go for those arguments. If someone isn't there, then you judge them by... Because it's built. I mean, the system's built around James.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not going to function that well without him anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like when Dunstall was injured, Hawthorn didn't look too damn good.
Yes. Funny that.
Because the system was built around him.
Yeah.
And it is now built around James Sicily. So anyway, what am I trying to say here? There were guys like Kazitsky who nearly took mark of the week, mark of the year.
Well, it's TBD.
But
really.
he smashed the pack. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you want from him. Now, he was fighting uphill all day. Can't fault his efforts. 87% time on ground for a key forward is good. Very happy with that. Obviously, he's letting Mitch have a much better go at it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What about the debutant, Bailey McDonald? 10 touches at 90% disposal efficiency and 6 marks. Fairly modest game. A fine debut, I thought.
Yeah, he doesn't worry about much. I just saw him heading straight at the ball.
Seemed
Good, fearless.
fairly uninhibited. I'm happy to see more from him.
Got a couple of touches. No, he got one touch in the first quarter, didn't he? And then...
Yep.
Yeah.
But he picked up his socks after that.
Wouldn't be great.
For your
Wouldn't
first
be great
game in
the
a
first
defensive
quarter.
line. Yeah.
But, I was pleased that he was named. Another bloke that finds out what's required. I hope they give him another week, certainly. Be a great thrill for him to run out on the G.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was Day's first game, Adelaide Oval. That was interesting to me.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he would have played there before. But, 95% disposal efficiency on the day. But, geez,
From Will Day.
Yeah,
Oh, didn't realise that.
bloody high. But he didn't seem to have that much impact for me.
He had a rib issue, I think. He was taped up at half-time from memory. So that might have been it. I think it has been closely checked by an opponent. What about Jack Scrimshaw? Because fans have been crying out for his return.
Yeah.
They got their wish. 19 touches, team high 13 intercept possessions, 6 pressure acts.
Yeah.
6 is pretty damn low.
Does he leave the side or does he stay?
What would you do? I'm inclined to keep him in, but then you've obviously got to fit in Sicily somehow. Who else would it be? Is it Frost?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Is it Blank? Probably not.
No, well, you like to keep that.
Exactly. You want Blank to free up Sicily.
Yeah. Yeah, that's if you want to win, of course. Well, we've learnt that. We cry, as soon as that happened, we looked a hell of a lot better.
Exactly right.
I don't know. I was disappointed in our rucks again. I don't really rate the rucks at Port Adelaide. Meek was out of the game pretty quickly.
Oh, that was a tactical sub. We were just looking way too slow. Couldn't stop the transition. Just had no resistance there. And when that's happening, not only that frequently, but that easily, there's no point playing another ruck.
And they cut Connor Nash's game. He didn't get anywhere near the space that he usually finds.
Yep.
They really gave someone a task on Connor Nash because they knew that his work rate can lead to Hawthorn actually creating space and getting up the field quickly. So what do you think happened at halftime?
I'd probably say that Hawthorn got an almighty serve.
Do you reckon?
Well, what would you say to him?
Well, I'm not sure that it's conducive with a young side to, just lay it all on the line in front of them.
Yeah, so what's the alternative? Okay, put it this way. Let's reverse engineer it. What inspires
what you say
we saw?
is, let's not bother with thinking about the first half. Let's just play this as a new game. And we're going to change this, and this, and we're going to keep attacking.
Well, Sam has copped to not having changed that much. He believes it was in the laps of the players.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, you're that many points down. There's not a lot Sammy can do. He's got to leave it to them to work through and actually demand of themselves a higher standard.
Yeah.
We win that second half quite convincingly.
What did we kick? 8 of the last 10 goals?
Yeah.
Which, again, you do wonder how much to take out of that because obviously Port would have taken their foot off the pedal. That's quite obvious.
What did you think of our inability to stifle Alia?
I thought he was by far getting the best of Mitch Lewis initially, but they turned that around, which I was thankful for.
Yeah. It's interesting because he did play well, Mitch.
Yeah.
But no, they're a good team, and they're a good team to watch too, Port Adelaide.
They are.
And I would imagine that is the attacking prowess is something that Mitch wants to get. But to score that many points, 96 points.
That's our second highest of the year.
That is very good over there.
Yeah.
And I dare say the coach would not have been happy with how quickly we piled them on.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if it cost Port Adelaide a top 4 spot somehow by percentage. They could have had a lot more.
It's an interesting psychological thing. Losing, and it's quite a big loss, but you're scoring as well. If you lose and you don't even score, it's far worse.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen worse losses than this. I think someone...
Why is it always Port Adelaide in the first quarter over there, by the way?
I know, it's terrible,
It's
isn't
like
it?
rinse and repeat. It's ridiculous.
Someone did tweet us, I don't have their name handy, but they asked, is this the best that I've felt after a 55-point loss? And I don't know, I don't feel that bad about it. I tweeted during the game that I've seen worse losses this year.
Yeah.
And that was up to half-time.
North Melbourne losing on Sunday to Essendon. That was a bad loss.
We were being absolutely...
Gosh, I was riding that.
I know. We were being absolutely pummeled by Port Adelaide up to half-time, and yet I was watching the TV going like, but I don't think we're playing that badly. I've seen us play way worse than
Now,
this.
their execution was excellent when they got the ball back.
Yeah. I want to mention Sam Butler. Not a remarkable game, but he did record a tackle inside our forward 50, which is more than what I could say for the rest of the team.
So our spread is nowhere near as good as Port.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very regimented about making sure they create space.
Yeah.
And if we can learn to do that, we're going to look a hell of a lot better.
Well, I dare say we need to do that. That is the very thing we need to unlock for our game plan to be that much more potent. Butler and McKenzie, 12 touches apiece, both running at 83.3% disposal efficiency, did their bit. Sam Frost, he's probably on the chopping block.
Well, you're going to hang him out to dry.
He had 8 touches all in the second half.
Yeah.
He didn't touch the footy in the first half.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, I mean, it wasn't anywhere near him, was it?
To quote a famous film, inconceivable.
Yeah.
Absolutely inconceivable. Not only that, when he did get the footy, he ran at 37.5% disposal efficiency. He led our tackle count, I'll say that, to half-time with 5, but also he didn't add to that tally at all. So, not a great day for Frost. I could see him being on the chopping block this week.
What about Blank?
Well, I've discussed Blank and why we need him and Sicily.
But you think Frost is up for negotiation?
I'm not going to say Blank had a terrific game.
Key defenders are never going to look good in that kind of loss anyway.
No.
So I think it's a bit harsh on Frosty, but even when he has the ball, he doesn't use it well, and that is where you're coming at him.
Well, Frost is an important leader for this club now. He's one of the veterans. And when you looked at our defensive lineup on paper...
It was him.
Well,
Impey and maybe Scrimshaw.
Yeah,
they're the leaders back there.
Yeah, okay,
Hardwick.
fine. Yeah, fine. But
How'd Hardwick go?
You got Bramble, you got Weddle there, you got Bailey McDonald's. How many games has Blank played? Probably not even 15.
Yeah.
It's a very young and inexperienced back line, and the guy who's meant to be the leader is not even registering a touch in the first half. That's not great.
Yeah, but he's not called on to get a touch either. Like, if Hawthorn have the ball, no one's giving it to Frost. If he's going to have the ball, he's got to get it himself.
So his sum total influence in the first half is 5 tackles.
Yeah, I mean, he has just to be devil's advocate here,
Yeah, I know.
his pressure points
Yes.
are the highest in the team. Oh, hang on. I'm wrong again here.
Yep.
Dylan Moore, 52. Well outside the bounds of everyone else who's on 34 and 35.
Yeah.
So, Dylan Moore, I didn't realise he was in that much of the action, but wow.
Got a number of questions on this game. This first one from Tony Wilson, friend of the show. Tony Wilson, is our team a teetering tower of Jenga, and who thought it was safe to take out James Sicily?
Well, I think as a result of this game, it is time to play Sicily forward.
Oh, my God. Please.
Oh, I enjoyed that way too much, listeners.
Yep.
The reaction on the other side of the table was just complete.
Of course,
just abandon all hope with that.
we have to recognise that, no one deliberately withdrew Sicily from the team. It was suspended, and, arguments for and against that. But, God, it's going to be so good to have him
But Tony's right. It was pretty Jenga-like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Sicily is a foundational piece of that tower. If you take that out, the whole lot tips over.
That's why I felt, you had to bring Scrimshaw and DGB in there and play their roles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe you're onto something there. Quantum Hawk, how concerning is it for the backline to be so dependent on one player? Is Blank our key position defender? He looked all at sea, and has DGB's cards been stamped? Kudos to young Weddle, spanked in the first quarter, not alone and not all his doing, and to persist for a very good game after that is pretty good, according to Quantum Hawk.
I agree. The persistence factor, excellent, huge tick for the boy, and look, Blank, he hasn't been in good form all year. Structurally good, but
yeah, I'd say
if he could improve on a key KPD, it would be Blank.
Absolutely, I think you're right. In terms of the system and the advantages that brings, him simply being out there and freeing up the more potent and influential players.
But he needs to win one-on-ones more often.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It'll come. He's still very young.
This question from Matt Wood. Having watched the game plan develop over the year, the main thing I see is we don't spread from the front of the contest. At least one or sometimes two players run at it and connect the forward handball to cut through traffic. Should we get Hustwaite in now to exploit his hands?
Do it. I'd love to see that.
Yep.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure. Well, mate, I'm always up for a debutant.
Yeah, we don't get it to the outside quick enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Matt's right. And if we did, if Hustwaite could use his, I don't know, what's the word, Jedi-like mind trick he does. He has an incredible ability to be able to get the right handball out into space in front of the running, well, hopefully Carl Amon, because he has a wonderful boot.
Well, we better press on to Box Hill, who suffered just a second loss for the year, and this was one that hurt. Williamstown 76 defeated Box Hill Hawks 61.
9 goals 7 to 11 goals 10, and they were right in the contest until the last 15 minutes. Harry Morrison was good all day. Cooper Stevens is starting to put together a nice little run of form, which means that we might get to see him in the AFL lineup.
Yep, I said weeks ago that he was building very slowly, and that's come to pass. He's definitely finding something.
But it's his defensive game that he's worked on, and he looks a lot better now.
At no stage did the margin exceed 15 points either way, this contest, and we were desperately holding on in the last chapter there. A slim lead for much of the final term, but ultimately it was death by Corey Tiz. Back-to-back goals to Corey Ellison and the sealer coming from Corey Preston shortly after. I tuned into the stream immediately after the Port game, hoping to find a little something to cling on to, and to see us get done that way, that was a little bit annoying. But as you say, Harry Morrison with 31 touches, 13 marks. Cooper Stevens, 25 touches, 8 tackles, 6 clearances. Josh Ward, first game back from injury. Yeah, 21 touches, 6 tackles, 3 clearances. And the guy that we've mentioned a lot this podcast, Denver Granger Barras.
So 23 touches, 11 marks, but had no influence when the game was on the line, is what you've put down here.
The stat sheet did not really tick over a great deal when it was red hot and up for grabs in that final quarter, which is disappointing to see. I've heard reports
But still, he's putting his hand up. He realises he's been overlooked when Sicily isn't in the lineup, and that was his opportunity. 23 touches, is much more than he usually gets.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's much more industrious. Interesting to see Josh Morris, quiet day, but he was deployed as a forward again, which we haven't seen for a long time. 6 touches, just the 6, for 1 goal, 1.
Interesting. Why would they put him forward?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I wonder if he'd welcome it, because at this point with Weddle and Mitchell and, that queue that he was in for a senior position...
Well, he's still got Giath.
Well, that's it.
Or was he just sort of making sure that he was warming the spot for Chad, who apparently, off the injury report you were telling me about, he'll be available for selection at Box Hill.
Box Hill, that's what it said.
Ooh.
I almost did a double take. I will believe it when I see it, and no sooner than that. We had a question from Reese here. Hello, guys. Love the pod. My question is, what has happened to Fergus Green and why isn't he still in the side? I feel like he blends better with Mitch Lewis and can even help out the little guys. Well, the question of why is an interesting one. I'll tell you why he isn't getting back into the side this week. Barely cited for Box Hill. 3 disposals. He got a goal out of it, but that's it.
He's a bit demoralised.
It does seem like his confidence has taken a hit. He was travelling pretty well for Hawthorn. He's hitting the scoreboard fairly regularly.
Where's our new recruit, by the way?
Brandon Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. Clay Tucker was out there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't
what's
know.
Ryan doing? Just sitting this one out.
Oh,
We could have done with that. He averages
mate, you don't
2.6 goals a game.
For all you know, he might have had a personal
2.6
tragedy and he couldn't play.
2.6 goals a game. Oh, is that 15 points? I think it is.
Oh, I can't believe you're pinning it on him. You don't even know why he wasn't out there.
I'm going to call him Missing. That's going to be his nickname. No. But I was disappointed that he wasn't out there.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Box Hill's biggest test yet next week.
Finding a spot for Chad.
All right, their second biggest test. No, I'm talking opponent, of course. Box Hill are going to be hosting ladder leaders Brisbane at City Oval Saturday, 12:05pm. We're currently in third place on the ladder with 28 premiership points and a healthy percentage. However, Werribee, Casey, Williamstown, who we just lost to, are all on 28 points as well. So our position is looking a little precarious because you've got to keep in mind we have Brisbane this week, then we've got the bye,
Yeah.
but then we have to come back and face the Suns, who are currently, I think, second on the ladder. Mm-hmm. So this little gauntlet...
Don't worry about the Suns. Slip, slop, slap. That's enough.
This gauntlet, even with this one loss to Williamstown,
Yeah.
starts looking tricky.
You only have to make finals.
Yeah, I know, but I just want us to be top 4, that's all.
Do you reckon this side is capable of winning the VFL Premiership?
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Legit?
Yeah.
Because there's a very big gap between Casey and, I think, Brisbane and then us in terms of the betting markets.
Oh, is there? Okay.
I agree they're...
Okay, so you agree. Great.
I agree they're a chance for the top 4, but I just remember how we went against Casey and now losing to Willie,
Yeah, okay. Well, we haven't really been properly tested. I think we'll know more after the next 2 games, frankly. Brisbane and Gold Coast, that's going to be the barometer of things.
All right, so who's coming out of this lineup to join forces against Brisbane at the MCG on Saturday?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously, Sicily is the guaranteed in. Wingard's available, but if the injury reports to be believed, he might be playing for Box Hill. Jekker is available again.
Yeah.
He'll need some touch. He'll play for Box Hill as well.
Who do you play on Jack Gunston?
Scrimshaw? Yeah?
Yeah, okay. I can see that happening. Yep.
All right, you said it with a bit of a chuckle, so I'm going to need you to fire off an alternative in 3, 2,
DGB.
1. Oh, you buzzed in very quickly. Are you sure? DGB versus Gunston.
Yeah. Or Frost. What do you reckon? Frosty?
Oh, God.
Look, don't do this. Don't get all emotional. Frost is a good matchup for Gunners.
I don't know. I think Gunners will kick about 5, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, God.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
Are you meant to be happy for him?
I'm happy for him to be at the club. I just don't need him kicking 5
On
against
us.
us.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So you're not going to cheer him when he comes out into the G?
Oh, no, I'm still very appreciative
Yeah,
of
of
Gunners.
course. Yeah.
But I'll boo him when he
See,
has a shot at goal.
I won't be booing, but I won't be cheering. So
You might as well not be there. Just meet in the room.
I've got other witticisms to apply my brilliance to. So.
Yeah, that old chewy on your boot is just a winner. Now,
That's all they permit at the MCC, don't they? Need a bit of decorum in the forum.
yeah. Oh wow. Anyway, the Big Easy has a question. He said, clearly some selection pressure coming from Long, Stevens, Ward and Morrison, the VFL. If our current midfield stays healthy, do these blokes get a chance at all this season?
Yeah. I mean, they do.
I think you've got to give a nod to Long. He has to get a look. Ward, what does he have to do to get back in the lineup? Who's coming out for Wardy?
It's a good question, isn't it? Who have we got on the wings at the moment? Yeah, Bramble.
We're just skimming over Morrison here, are we?
Well, Morrison is out of the lineup.
Not part of the next premiership side. Is that what we're going for?
You tell me. I'm not sure.
You haven't used that line against Frosty yet either.
Well, he's not. So
Yeah.
the thing about Frost is we haven't really found the guy to be his understudy yet. So that's the difficulty there. That's something that Hawthorn need to concentrate on.
Yeah.
Because Frosty ain't going to be there when we're pushing real hard, when it's our time. But at the moment, we don't have the future locked in.
Newcomb had it pretty tough on the weekend, didn't he?
He did.
Beautiful goal, though.
And midfield did.
Yeah.
That was the big clash that we were looking forward to that was going to be really entertaining.
Oh,
Port had our measure in that,
Yeah.
obviously.
very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these guys probably have to be rested at
Do you
some
know what
point.
really frustrated me about that? There was so much second guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was all between the ears. I know people say that about AFL a lot.
Yeah, but did you, just on that, I think that's an astute observation. Did you notice they look to go backwards a fair bit?
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
try and calm it down, control it a bit.
Yeah.
Get their
Yeah.
hands on the footy, let everyone's heart rate drop.
Yeah. I caught Newcomb and Warple doing it. Quick look behind. Not really sure what to do with the footy. I don't know. Just something I noticed this week.
Well, it just kept coming back so quickly,
Yeah.
which is what they're great at, Port. But we'll be doing that to the side soon, so don't worry too much about it.
We'll be seeing some of these guys, Long, Stevens, Ward, Morrison, because our go-to midfields, these guys are going to need a rest. They're going to need to be managed eventually. And the door will be open for these guys to come in.
So, it's a big question, this. You going to City Oval or are you going to the MCG? Because we're playing at City Oval at 12 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then the G, we start at 1:45.
Well, yeah, I'll be going to the G because it doesn't feel like we've had too many chances to do that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, yeah.
Ideally, we'd have, Box Hill
Why are
as
they
a
running
curtain.
at the same time?
Well, that's it.
They did that last week as well.
I'd love for them to have the curtain raiser.
Bit odd.
And then I'd say both. I'd beat the MCG for both, and that's win-win. Hopefully it is legitimately win-win. Are we a chance against Brisbane?
Yeah, they never win at the G.
You know what? I think we are a chance against
No, you said this is about Port as well. And it was over within the first 10
I said
minutes.
about St Kilda.
It was this, that algorithm that, I forget what his name is, but he runs it on Twitter.
Yeah.
It was the earliest called game, bar one, which was Melbourne versus North in 2021.
Okay, I think I remember that game.
Yeah.
I think I watched it twice.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm delighted that you attribute such cosmic significance to me and my predictions. Well, if I say...
Well, we don't get Friday night games anymore, so it really...
If I say Hawthorn's going to win, well, of course we must be losing. That's what
Well, you
you're
lack
saying.
confidence against St Kilda and we won, so let's lack confidence this week, Nick. If we can do that for the side, that'll be good.
All right, fine. Curate my social media presence accordingly, shall I? It's all doom and gloom. Hey, speaking of doom and gloom,
Oh, no.
you just saw what was on the rundown.
Yeah. Oh, this is what everybody's been waiting for. The latest on the Hawthorn racism saga. Now, see, you've bought into the language they're using now.
Yeah.
It's an inquiry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to update my terms, do I?
Yeah. And
You know what I'm talking about.
and instead of saying inquiry, you say inquiry because it sounds even. it's an inquiry sounds like you're really sort of demanding answers and things. An inquiry is like same word, but the way you say it. So there were always through the media and all the parlance related to this whole thing. 4, weren't there?
Yep.
And now there's 3.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy obviously didn't want to be named.
Yes.
And
So
everyone's-
allegedly, of course.
Yeah. And everyone's presuming that that's Shane Savage.
Yes.
Is that where we're going?
That's what we've heard, yes. Cannot confirm or deny, but there is a resounding noise around that.
Are you saying there's a significance to him dropping away from the...
It just changes the parameters, doesn't it? Because, you were right in pointing out that language is important. It's just not as neatly packaged if one player isn't Indigenous anymore, and that it's not on racial grounds.
Right. Which would be why you'd be going to the HRC.
Yeah.
Right. It seems... Look, I don't want to give anybody false hope, but it seems to me that these things, they will have to prove that it didn't happen to anyone else.
That is an enormous task.
Yeah. And it only takes one person to say, oh, that something similar happened to me.
Yeah.
But that's the case, It mightn't be morally upstanding to have even given that advice.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not...
racially motivated.
Yeah. Then...
it's still incredibly murky, either way you look at it.
Yeah. But,
what I mean is it's not much of a win.
But I've got to say that these, we've said this before, conversations about these very, very tough personal issues happen in workplaces all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's often never a good way to handle these things. Now, Kennett's had Gil over for lunch today.
Yes, a short, sharp 45-minute chat. What's going to happen with Hawthorn?
You ever had a short, sharp 45-minute chat?
With the enormity of this topic, I don't think 45 minutes is a long time. Do you? That's nothing.
Is it just him and Jeff? Or is it like an
I don't know.
entourage and Jeff
I'm
at the
not
other
sure.
end of the table?
I don't know. Is Jeff negotiating? What is happening there?
So the threat is that they punish us either with a fine or with draft picks, or, they're just looking for a way to make their displeasure felt.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they're looking to do?
Yeah, they want Hawthorn to have a good hard look in the mirror at themselves, but not too closely.
Right.
Not too closely. We don't do that.
So I flipped...
Because that involves an investigation that lasts 8 months and ends up nowhere.
Yeah, it is quite difficult to see what they find remiss.
Mm-hmm.
Because it only ever gets to the media, which is even by Cyril and Jermaine Miller-Lewis and Carl Peterson's statement, the point at which it all went awry.
Yeah, the verbiage around that is they feel like their confidence was betrayed. Now, by whom, I ask? That is
if you're talking to Rusty Jackson...
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it got out in the media. I think that's a little bit ridiculous.
Yes. But how does Jackson know who to go to begin with? That's a problem. That's one of the biggest curiosities about this whole saga, I would say.
Is Leon Egan related to Phil Egan?
Yeah, I believe they're cousins.
Right.
So we can all speculate as to what might have happened here, and I emphasise speculate.
Then Jason Burt's come out and said, no, they definitely asked for money.
Yeah, in the statement from the past players, we never asked for money. It's come to light that they absolutely did.
Right.
So I don't understand that. But again, it doesn't matter how we talk about this. I always end up in the same place. It's just so sad. And it's so sad that it's Cyril heading this.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the day where we know exactly what's happening.
No, that's not going to happen.
You don't think?
No.
This stuff gets out eventually.
What are you saying gets out? Whether it happened or not, or...
Okay, best case scenario, right?
All right.
In my mind,
Mm-hmm.
to my mind, I think it's a giant cultural misunderstanding that is just beyond belief. Okay. So Clarkson and co...
I think that's very hard to hold on to, given some of the departing comments Cyril made in presses and things about his relationship with the club and Clarkson.
Yeah, look, you might be right. I don't know. But I think that we had a group of officials that were absolutely driven and single-minded about success, and they took some very murky paths to get there. Paths that...
Well, that's the allegation.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't think... I'm going to say best case scenario, the sorts of initiatives and strategies they used were not deliberately insensitive, but by God, they absolutely were. And they perhaps didn't know that. They didn't understand that. They didn't have the insight as to why it was culturally insensitive. But these are the things that they're all coming to grips with now. And they will need to, with the commission. As the players have said, they want to be understood. And one way or another, they're going to have their voices heard. They haven't ruled out going to the federal court.
If they go to the Human Rights Commission, it would be they determine whether there's a case, and then it goes to the federal court. Mm-hmm. That's the system.
But that's what I mean by the best case scenario.
But that
because there's no way.
Do you realise how arduous this investigation is going to be? Not only on them absolutely. First and primarily, because they will go to them first for the story, and then off to the individuals who are now at other clubs. This is not ending anytime soon.
Oh, absolutely not. And, me spelling out in my mind the best case scenario there, I just don't see a future point in time where any of these guys, and I mean the officials, look completely squeaky clean. I can't imagine that. We've come too far down this process. Where even honest mistakes are just massive errors in judgment.
Okay.
I think that's where we end up.
Do you think it was an error in judgment for the accusers to say that they hadn't sought any compensation?
Oh, absolutely. I don't understand that. I don't know why anyone went to the media, because now, we read in their statement that their confidence was betrayed. Well, if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. If you talk to a journalist, they're probably going to report on what they've heard. Help it make sense, Tiz. I don't understand. And at the end of the day, I go back to the day
I would make sense of it through the emotive aspects of this thing, and that would be why you would talk to him, because you felt that getting the public interest would be beneficial to your side.
Maybe there's something in that. I just cast my mind back to how I felt the week that all of this blew up, and that was grand final week last year, and how saddened I felt by what I was reading. And I desperately hope that none of it's true. I guess we'll find out whether it is, whether it isn't, how much is, how much isn't. It's just so sad on all sides. And even sadder now that Cyril is visibly the face of this.
Yeah.
It's just one of my favourites, that's all.
Yeah.
And to think that he had a horrible, horrible time in an era that, for me, for you, for Hawthorn fans, was...
Well, it's in the last years. It's after the premierships. So Jermaine Miller-Lewis is from earlier. For Cyril, is it over a long period of time, or is it just that specific incident?
I don't know.
Look, we could keep talking about this into the wee hours.
Yeah, no, I suggest we move on, because we're normally a light-hearted podcast.
What solution would possibly end up, is it even vaguely possible, where we see, let's say 2033 reunion. Mm-hmm. Is that possible to get Cyril back in the same room?
It just depends on how all this goes. That's it. No one can say that at this stage. I wouldn't be surprised if he never came back, but it all hinges on what happens next.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, there's got to be some negotiator that's able to get that done.
Yeah.
And for the AFL to come at us for having asked the question and threaten us for investigating, doing this mental health check on these players, because we were seen for a long time and throughout the media as exemplary in the way that we handled these talents.
Yep.
And to find out that we weren't, other clubs were copying us. Okay.
Well, we had a question here from Cam. Can we get some sort of an idea on what we've done wrong to potentially be getting sanctioned? It seems we did exactly what was required of us. Is it because it uncovered stuff that would most likely be uncovered with some layers peeled back at most other clubs?
Oh, I think that's definitely the case. I do not think everyone else is golden.
Yeah. Let's not be so naive as to call this exclusively a Hawthorn issue.
And I think the timing was particularly poor because we've buggered up Gill's leaving party.
No.
Oh, there's a big ego on that fella.
Yeah.
Massive. Like, to just deploy yourself to negotiate with Kennett today.
Well, I was going to say, again, to be a fly on the wall
Yeah.
for those two in that 45 minutes.
Like, I mean, Kennett's never given any quarter to Gill. Yeah, I just think it's a complete failure of the AFL to protect the interests of their members. Again, they did it with Essendon. They managed to extricate themselves out of the Collingwood situation with Lumumba.
Yep.
And, they never really sold anything. They just let it move on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you reckon they'll take 8 months to...
they were hoping... no, God, no.
We'll
We'll know before the draft.
It'll be a lot more swift on Hawthorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be right.
And we're a successful club. If we were unsuccessful, the AFL would be doing everything they could to help us. But because we're not under the financial umbrella of the AFL, we get hung out to dry.
See, North Melbourne's got their hand out again.
I didn't realise they had another hand to put out. So they had both hands out already.
All right, we need to get to our social media stuff, and then we'll wrap up with a couple more lighthearted questions.
In good news, that stadium's looking less and less likely. Anyway,
Anyway, always
I
lovely.
saw Robert Shaw. Is it the Foo Fighters? I'm not up to all this stuff, but they're coming out? They've planned a tour or something?
Those men that take umbrage with Foo?
What?
They,
no.
They
It's like
battle Foo?
Dave Growl or something.
Dave
Anyway,
Growl. What? We're in a real spot of bother when I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Anyway, Robert Shaw, he said, they probably would have come if we had a stadium. Let's build it. Now, that is the poorest argument I've heard for a stadium. And that means it's looking real teetery.
I'm sorry, his political platform is Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely the underwritten messaging. Even Jack Riewoldt was doing that. And then even Brendan Gale was like, they'll walk taller, the Tasmanians, for having their own team. And all these kind of weird, feely arguments.
Speaking of all the feels,
Yeah.
as we put it, always lovely.
I cringed when I read this review.
Okay, well, I'm reading it anyway, out loud. Always lovely to discover where we've been left another rave review on Apple Podcasts. Here's the latest one. Sweet Peaches 69.
I was going to give 4 stars as the first part I read.
Yeah, because in my opinion, they do not mention Nash as much as they should. I mean, we absolutely do.
I mention a lot more and it gets cut, to be honest, Sweet Peach.
The review continues, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Keep up the good work. That's a 5-star review. Thank
Beautiful.
you, Sweet Peaches 69.
Very nice.
Meanwhile...
But I tell you what, he's going to feature massively in our mid-season review because he is basically the guy that's brought the midfield along to task.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead of me. Whether we win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. Our social channels always buzzing. So get on board, join the conversation. It's a wonderful community of Hawthorn fans that we have around this show. And of course, as always, a massive thanks to our proud, passionate, and paid-up Patreon subscribers. You help make this show happen. A big shout out to our latest subscriber, David. Thank you. We really appreciate all the support. Here's some news for those that have signed up. We've almost hit the buy, which means, and Tiz flagged it before, we've got a mid-season review podcast coming your way. An exclusive bonus episode for Patreon subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you do want access to that one, hop on to patreon.com/HawkTalkPod and support the show.
Now we're into the red time items and 2 final questions. One from Ethan, non-footy but a branding question. Do you think it's time for Hawthorn to get a new logo?
I don't know. I don't think our brand needs any help. It doesn't need any revitalisation at this point. I think we just carry on.
Well, Jeff brought in the last logo, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, when he came to the club.
Oh, there you go. Ethan continues. Think the current one is awesome, but it is associated with the Clarko era, in my view, and 4 flags. So as we enter a new era under Sam, do you think we need a new logo?
Well, I mean, they can be a costly pursuit.
Hop on a $5, you reckon? Oh.
Hop on a $5.
Well, how much
is that how we got ours?
How much does this stuff cost?
Oh, it can be millions.
It can be extremely pricey.
Yeah.
You've got to think of the overheads.
Yeah.
We need everything we can for Dingley.
Oh, yeah. We've got to find some other sources of revenue.
Yeah. So, see, Fiverr's not looking too bad now, is it?
No. But listen, I've been thinking of all these different, revenue streams.
That worries me. Go on.
And if you can stump up the $3,500 for those new, Apple goggles or whatever they are, they're like VR tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? What's that going to be? Over $5,000 for an Aussie? I was thinking all the ways that Hawthorn could make the experience if you actually turned up to the game and you had them on. It'd be incredible.
Do I get to see a win if I put those goggles on? Or?
Yeah, they could totally bend the whole game.
Brilliant. Sign me up.
Yeah, and at some point you're like, wait, I remember this out of the 2014 Grand Final.
Are you saying I get to be out on the field where Ruffy crunches Hanbury?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? It'd be terrific. Or you could just have a special guest in your ears and on the screen, I don't know, Rodney Eade just going, because he gets a little bit of emotional, Rodders, and it could be great to have him sort of, and being able to see him in the top left.
Yeah. Are you saying I could sit in the bay where all the Swans fans are as Langford's goal goes through? Oh. What an experience.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So do you think technology is just going to surpass sport soon?
This is an interesting question to bring up at the end of an episode, isn't it?
Well, I mean, this is more of a...
I'd put that one on the back burner.
This is more of an after-dinner mint to clear the palate.
I see.
Yeah. It's something to think about.
All right, there you go.
How are you going to incorporate that technology into AFL and its lamentable technology as it sits now?
This last one from Matt. What do we look for with our first round pick at year's end? We took 2 200-centimetre guys in the mid-season draft. Is a key position player still a major need of this team?
What do you think we need? We need everything. We need everything. There's not one line I'm happy with.
Yeah, well, when you...
I know people are going, the midfield looks great until we play Port Adelaide.
Yeah, well, it's the start of the journey. We're still at the... year 2 under Sam Mitchell.
True.
So, of course, it's going to have,
But they're young. They're a young midfield at Port Adelaide. I mean,
I understand.
They're only a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's not like we're playing a seasoned midfield that's won a couple of premierships and everything. No, these are young kids that are leading their pack.
But everything is just humming for them right now, whereas we're trying to find, we're trying to bring everything together, whereas they seem to have, it's clicked.
I'm looking forward to playing Richmond, mind you.
Yeah, same. I'm looking forward to playing Carlton. Are you kidding me?
Are you really? No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, is this where I'm supposed to say that we're going to lose?
If Carlton... I reckon Carlton win this week.
Who do they play?
Essendon.
Wow, okay. No, it's not going to happen.
Really?
I mean, it'd be funny if it did. We can all agree on that.
Melbourne to beat Collingwood, Carlton to beat Essendon.
Okay, sure.
Do you want to go through the whole round?
No, I don't.
It's a Friday night game, I'm pretty sure.
No, key position player, still a major need of this team. Yeah, I mean...
Love a centre-half forward.
Yeah, I think we still need a key position defender.
Oh, Dogs Port Adelaide on a Friday night. That's a
We're
good
not
game.
doing that. We're not going through it. Not doing that anymore.
Buddy has his 350th.
Yeah, so?
Going to be watching?
Maybe on Twitter afterwards. I'll just view the highlights.
Yeah, he's still a favourite of yours.
Yeah, he is. I think it's fantastic.
He still looks pretty fit,
I saw that the AFL put out an excellent graphic of him sitting upon a throne. Mm-hmm. And the 2 premierships that have the...
Is it only 2?
Ribbons. It's only 2.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But so worth it, though. So worth it.
Yeah.
Nah, I wish him well, but I am very glad that it's just us. Just us on those cups. Just the brown and gold. Mate, we need to wrap up. Brisbane this week. Tough opponent. But you're a little bit bullish about our chances.
No.
Oh, so you're not?
No, I was just trying to lead you down that garden path. No, I think Brisbane and Fagan Fagan doesn't have much love for us at the moment. So I think we might be taken to task again. But, they're not that great at the MCG. But they have been doing one thing, Brisbane, and that's changing their strategy week to week to get the best out of themselves against their opponents. So
beat them in Tassie just last year.
We did. I forgot about that, actually.
There it is. I'm talking you around already. Let us mull over that fact as we wrap things up.
It'll be great to get to the G, though. Looking forward to it.
This has been the Hawk Talk podcast for another week. We'll be back, of course, to recap all the action from this weekend next week. Hopefully we have a win, or 2, or 3. We are a happy team at Hawthorn.